Unless anybody else needs use of the frequency, the 2 a.m. net will be live in approximately 5 minutes. KC9UDX net control here. Good evening. This is Kilo Charlie 9er Uniform Delta X-Ray. My name is Matt and I welcome you to the 2 a.m. net. The purpose of this net is to promote the use of amplitude modulation and also to establish this part of this band as a place for AM activity in this area. Everyone is invited to listen. Licensed amateurs who can do so legally are encouraged to check in. We listen in the AM mode and transmit in the AM mode where possible. If you cannot transmit in AM, we encourage you to listen in AM and transmit in FM. If you are transmitting in FM, please adjust your transmit frequency a couple kcs above or below from our receive frequency. This facilitates the use of slope detection, that is, demodulating your FM signal with our AM receivers. When checking in, please announce your call sign in standard phonetics. Again, this is KC9UDX. My name is Matt, and I will now begin accepting check-ins. Any stations wishing to check in, please come now. We may be having a slow start here. I don't hear anybody yet. So if you're calling, please try again. And I'll see if I can pull you out of the weeds. Otherwise, we'll do what we can here. Anybody wishing to check into the 2 a.m. net, call now, please.
Good evening, Matt, LBRY.
All right, got one so far. Recognizing and welcoming Frank, W9JCC. Do we have anybody else?
Whiskey Bravo 9, Bravo Whiskey Papa, and also he doubled with AB9DW.
Roger, thank you. Recognizing and welcoming Dave, WB9BWP, and also Dale, AB9DW. Do we have anybody else? Come now, please. All right, hearing none. Hearing none so far. I'll start out by saying another month here has gone by, and it could have been yesterday for all I know. Nothing changes with me other than work and more work, and that's about it. I did get some time to play around with some computers. I bought another Rock Pro 64, and that's been kind of frustrating. I intended to use it to replace a set-top TV box, and that's not going so well. Also managed to get the software package sync thing running on NetBSD on i386, which it did not work out of the box. And that was kind of interesting. Other than that, I can't think of too much to advertise. We have about a 7-second delay here on YouTube tonight. And other than that, I guess we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Frank, I'll send it to you first, W9JCC from KC9UDX.
Okay, thank you, Matt, and good evening to Dave and Dale. This is W9JCC in Waukesha, and copied your I copied everybody. I didn't hear Dave. I think it was the double with him, but or Dale. But I copied Dave okay here. And I've been working at my 75E4 on the desk behind me. And I think Thursday I'm going to put it back in line here with the rest of this gear. And maybe I'll just an estimator a problem. And there's a tube that I'm using in there now in the first start stage that I don't know what the tube is. I couldn't read the number off of it. I think when I put it in years ago, I think I go in there. And it could be this, well, I don't think it's the same tube that they call out in the manual, but it does operate real well, so I think I might just leave it in there. I suspected it was being the problem before, but it works so well, I'm going to give it another shot. And if it doesn't, we'll have to, if it is a tube problem, then we'll go back to one of the other ones, which messes up the ALC a little bit. Yeah, I've been pretty routine here, going to the gym almost every morning. I picked up groceries this morning, and I forgot to order milk, so tomorrow on the way back from the gym, I'll stop and get some of that. And I'm still waiting for spring to come. It just doesn't seem right. It seems like it should be a little warmer than this, but today was nice and sunny, pretty pleasant outside, but a little on the cool side. So back to you there, WNJCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. Excuse me. Fine business. And I'll tell you what, of course, you know this very well. Just, when the tube numbers come off, that's that's extremely frustrating. But at least you know it's compatible. Sometimes it's not even so easy to figure that out. I've got, I don't know how many hundreds of tubes here, but I bet you I've got a dozen of them that have no markings and I can't identify them. Probably never figure that out. I always thought if I had time I could sit down with the tube tester and at least try to figure something out. And good on going to the gym regularly. I wish I could do that, get some kind of exercise. I never seem to get enough. And of course the weather has not been helping. Every opportunity I get to get some exercise outside here, the weather does not cooperate. I have to stop and get some milk on the way home tomorrow too. I've got to do that every other week. I'm not sure what happened. I have a very large refrigerator here. Had it for a very long time. And we always used to have 6 gallons of milk in there. And that refrigerator died, and I ordered another one just like it. So we had to use a very small refrigerator in the interim, which meant only getting 1 gallon of milk. But then somehow when we went back to the big refrigerator, we don't have enough room for milk anymore. We only ever have a maximum of 2 gallons, which is problematic. And yeah, the spring does seem to be taking its time here. I'm trying to figure out, it's hard for me to keep track of anything, but it's hard, I'm trying to figure out if this is normal to have such low temperatures this late. It could be, and it doesn't seem like it. I was telling a coworker this morning, it was making me think about the year without a summer, and I meant to look that up again today, and I neglected to do that, but I want to say the year without a summer was 1815, maybe. So 210 years ago. And from what I remember, there was multiple large volcanoes erupting at the same time, and so they went a year without a summer at all. I remember reading something about frozen lakes in the southern United States in July. And with that, we'll go to Dave, WB9BWP from KC9UDX.
Well, good evening, guys. I think there should be more. I heard Steve FSE last night talking about heading out to the tower site for the net tonight. So maybe he'll get there soon. And I don't remember if that was last year or the year before. Somewhere recently, it was even in the June, it was still, I'll say cold. I mean, it wasn't like it is today, but we weren't getting much out of the 60s at all. A lot of 50s. It was really holding off for a while. Maybe we were like inverting the seasons or something. And two, I don't even remember the last time that I did anything with tubes. I had a tube tester. I sold that many years ago. And I've got an old VTVM here that I think needs a tube. And that's in the to be ham-fisted pile. That meter actually came from Warren. It came in Odysee. Anyway, let's see. Going to the gym. When the weather's bad and I can't get outside, we do have a treadmill, a fairly substantial one, and I was on that today. I finished physical therapy last week, or sort of, at least for now. I go back at the end of the month. They can see if I'm still walking or not. But over the last number of years, that's kind of been my pastime. Well, let's see if we can go to therapy for a year and a half. It's bad when you walk in the room and everybody goes, "Hey, Dave, how you doing?" Yeah, okay. Anyway, let me look on the calendar once. Oh yeah, I'll just mention that here. I mentioned that on MSOE Net last night. Stand by a moment. It's not ham stuff. There's a show in Chicago this weekend called Axpona. It's all ridiculously expensive high-end audio stuff. It's, they fill up an entire hotel. There's demos in every room and stuff. I was thinking of going, but then I saw that tickets were $30. And I'm like, I don't want to pay $30 just to walk through hotel rooms and look at stuff. Especially looking at stuff that I'm never going to buy. It's like, this would be the only opportunity to ever even see some of these things. That's the world of the $2,000 power cords and stuff like that. But anyway, and then next weekend is an MRIC meeting. And the weekend after that is the Cedarburg Hamfest. So I guess there's the next 3 weeks there. And that's enough. I'll send it back to that. This is WB9 BWP.
All right, thank you, Dave. Fine business. We have a treadmill here, too, and a home gym. And I do use the treadmill now and then, and I guess I do some leg presses usually on the home gym. The home gym is too hard to use. There's not enough space around it. And it's a royal pain changing the weights. But I do use it when I can. And what I've got by the treadmill, I've got a big TV, a big flat screen TV somebody gave us. I stuck that in front of the treadmill. I'll usually watch cross-country skiing videos, videos that I took of myself skiing while I'm on the treadmill. Otherwise, sometimes I'll watch some political stuff, but it's a little too odd doing that. You see people's faces, 2 feet tall in front, right directly in front of you like that. But that treadmill was something else that somebody gave us. It was discarded. There's a whole bunch of stuff on it doesn't work. And recently, the safety clip that that makes it turn off if you fall off of it broke. So I want to figure out a way to replace that. Maybe with something a little better. I did go bowling last week or the week before for exercise. I thought that would be a good thing to do. And I figured we'd go to the Bolero, what used to be the Red Carpet Lanes Bolero, because I haven't been there since it was Red Carpet Lanes. And that was a mistake. Holy cow, is that expensive. I spent $400 there. That's just outrageous to me. And it just wasn't even a very good experience. It's obviously nothing like it used to be. Bowling in general is not like it was back then at all. Nobody anywhere takes it seriously anymore. And I use a VTVM here. It's a Heath kit. I don't remember what Warren had, but this one has been very reliable. I actually have no recollection of where I got it. I've been using it for a very long time. And I'll tell you, I can't even imagine going to a show with audio file stuff like that. I used to be able to appreciate the higher end audio stuff, but when they started getting into the, like you say, the $20,000 power cables and things, I just don't understand. But at one point, they had some impressive turntables. Now they're just gimmicky, I think. And of course, they have these fancy turntables now that play CDs, which I think is bizarre. And they shave the edges of the CDs to make them run concentrically and whatever. Silliness. Anyway, we'll go next to Dale, AB9DW. Hopefully I can hear you here, Dale, but AB9DW from KC9UDX.
All right, Matt. Good evening to you and Frank and Dave. Everybody's doing well. You guys were talking about tubes, and it reminded me that I have an amplifier here, and I haven't run my HS amplifier since the beginning of the year because it's not producing any power, very little power. So I think I need to replace the power tube. I need a match set of 811s, which I saw HRO had. So I don't know if I'm going to spend money on that or if I'm going to wait a bit. Of course, if I wait a bit, the prices of these things are probably going to skyrocket now with everything that's happening with these tariffs. So, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. Anyway, that's a quandary for me. And then, so you were talking about groceries, and I wanted to mention that we went grocery shopping Saturday afternoon. No, it was last night, in fact. And I usually set aside about $200, $300 to go shopping about once a week, just my wife and myself. And but it never really amounted to much over $200. But this time it was $257, and we didn't buy anything unusual. So I think that's going to hurt too. So yeah, and then we had that rain, and it kept raining and raining and raining, and then we developed a big lake in our backyard. Fortunately, it didn't come too close to the house, so but even with that, the sump pump just ran and ran and ran. So I agree. It's similar to last year. I don't think we actually started to really warm up until like mid-June. So we had a couple of sporadic days in the high 60s, low 70s, but we didn't get up into the mid 70s until June, I think. So there you go. Exercise equipment. We got rid of exercise equipment out of that in the last runnings that we did, and the value of the space and appreciate the space that we got back because of that. So that's about it for now. We'll get back to you at Net Control 89DW.
All right, thank you, Dale. Fine business. Got a solid copy on you this month. You're coming at a 3 on the 0 to 10 scale, so 30%. That's pretty impressive. And I understood everything you said, so that's good. That's better than normal. Frank, of course, is a 10, and Dave is a 6 3/4. And I think that's pretty normal. And I'm not sure, Dale, where you were on the meter. I guess you have been a 3 in the past, but this was a much better copy this time, I think. And yeah, the grocery bills. Well, you're lucky it's just you and your wife. I was getting a kick out of it. I don't use the discount card at the store, but the store people always use the store discount card, so I get the discount anyway. And usually my discount is more than what people pay for just their groceries in total. I think last Thursday we went shopping. We spent around $1,200. And that's, mind you, that's 2 weeks, but still, that's what happens when you have a hungry family of 5, I guess. And people tell me surely I could save money going to different places here or there, wherever, but I'm pretty sure I've got it worked out the best we can do it. I've got a very good handle on that. I actually keep a database of all the different products we buy and the prices we pay and where we can get them and what prices we get them and which places. Speaking of Warren K9IZV, I think he would appreciate that. I have an obscene amount of data on our grocery spending. That's something Warren was very good at, collecting obscene amounts of data and organizing it. And I wonder if there's a reason why you think you need output tubes in that amplifier, if that was something pre-existing or what. You know, they should last a long time. I can't even remember the designation on the, I think I got 400 tubes in mine. I don't remember. No, I think there's some other 4-digit designation. It's been so long since I've worked with that thing, I just don't even recall. I do turn it on, every couple months. But I probably should put it on the bench and make sure it doesn't need capacitors before I actually use it again. I should probably hook it up to the dummy load and make sure it works without any arcing or anything. But that's a project for a day when I hope I don't get to a point where I have that much time, unfortunately. And the rain, yeah. It's hard for me to keep track of which days, but it's just every time I get a chance to do something outside, it's raining. And I don't remember the weather too much last year, but I remember 2021, I think it was, we had a real cold spring and a cool summer. And the worst one I remember at all that I can remember was, was 2004. We had a very cool summer that year. And we are at the bottom of the list. Let's see if we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please.
This is Kilo Sierra, Niner, Quebec. KC9UDX. This is N9CXK. Hi, Matt. Sorry I'm late.
All right. Got 2 more, recognizing KS9Q Jim, welcome to the net, and Carol N9CXK, welcome to the net. Better late than never. Do we have anybody else? Come now, please. Hearing none, we'll go to Jim, KS9Q from KC9UDX.
Okay, very good. KC9UDX in the net. This is KS9Q. First off, Matt, is my audio level okay? I am using a different mic.
I think you sound fine. Perfectly fine to me.
Okay, just wanted to make sure, because I don't have a modulation monitor active at the moment. But yeah, nice to hear everybody on. I don't have a copy on Dale. But, Carol, you're coming in real good, and, of course, Matt, I'm hearing you real good as well. We just finished up dinner. It is Taco Tuesday at our abode, and that was very tasty. Yeah, Matt. When you come back, I'm curious as to what amplifier that you're looking at. I actually have been kicking around the idea of home brewing a 2-meter amplifier with 6146s or something along that line. I know there's some designs in older handbooks, but it would be nice to have just a little bit stronger signal on 2 meters for the net here. So I think I've got a lot of the parts that I would need. It would just be a matter of laying everything out and putting her together. But that's a project for when I have a little bit of time. Other than that, that's good for this round. We'll send her back. This is KS9Q.
All right, thank you, Jim. And I unfortunately did not write down the amplifier that Dale has, so I can't speak to that. But he has, I think, 4 811. 811A, is that? 811? I don't remember. I used to know all this stuff. The amplifier I've got is a Hunter Bandit 2000C. It is 10 decibels HF. It'll handily do 10 decibels 80 meters through 20, and it kind of gradually gets less when you get higher than that. But it's very impressive. It does an incredible job. And it makes a great pilot buster for somebody with a not perfect antenna here. That has helped a lot over the years. And I've looked at building a 2-meter a 2-meter tube linear. That's a project I would like to do someday too, but unfortunately that's something I'll never get around to doing. I have a couple of solid state linear amplifiers for VHF and UHF, but 2 meters especially. And I've got one that's I could turn it on right now. The problem is, I think that's 10 watts in, and this radio puts out 7 watts on AM. And the way I can get away with running that amplifier is I actually detune the output on this radio, and I have measured it, and it's clean. It does work. I know I've heard some nasty words from people when I mention that. You know, they say you should never do that, and don't do it, it's dangerous, whatever, but it works. I normally don't do it because it's just more convenient to run the radio without it, not having to detune the output. And also I worry about the insertion loss on receive. I guess I've never measured it to know if it really matters or not. But it's something I think about anyway. I think that one is 10 watts in and 160 watts out. I've got a couple of smaller ones too. Ones that would be even harder to hook up to this radio. And with that, we'll go to Carol, N9CXK. And I have a note here, Carol, to talk about a Plymouth Horizon, and I'm not sure why. N9CXK from KC9UDX.
N9CXK. Well, the reason you have that note is because I said that was the only car that we ever bought new, and it was a clunk. It was no better than any of the used cars we ever had. So we made it. We got our money's worth out of it, but yeah, there was a lot to deal with. And being a new car, I didn't expect that. So that's why. So let's see. First thing, Matt, you are doing a solid 10/9 here with perfect audio tonight.
I was listening to you in the car. We just drove back from Lake Geneva. My daughter had a Special Olympics event down there, so we were just coming back. I was trying to listen to you on the FM radio, but just wasn't enough audio for me to hear. But yeah, you and some of the other guys had pretty good signals, I would say. Even though I couldn't hear what you were saying, but it seems like the band is very quiet tonight. I hardly have any noise at all, so I'm really hearing everybody. Dale was even perfectly audible here. That was nice. Yeah, everyone else sounds good. And I don't have a lot to add. We were in Detroit all last week and came back from there. And then we're going up to Special Olympics in Oshkosh this weekend. So we're on the road a lot. And I don't have much else to tell though. The lake is nice and wet. No ice, no nothing like that. The loon is here. There's a loon that comes every spring and every fall. A single loon comes and travels around the lake and does his calling, but I've never seen him with another loon, so I guess he's a kind of a lonely guy. He was just in front of the house tonight. So he usually comes for a couple of weeks, and then he moves on further up north. Or further down south, depending on what season it is. And that's the story of that, I guess. I don't want to talk about cars at all. Don't have to, don't need to. My Subaru with 210,000 miles went over to Detroit and back without any trouble, and I did battle with everybody on the road, so we're good there. Yeah, kind of looking forward to some crappy weather tomorrow. It's okay. I kind of enjoy that weather, and as long as it doesn't last forever, it's okay. I guess it's just going to be a little sloppy, that's all. And yeah, everybody sounds good. And I've never had a HF amplifier, but I have two lunar amplifiers that are 10 in, 80 out. They're just the most beautiful, well-made amplifiers, and I ended up buying two of them. But they only take 10 watts in, so I gotta run the power down on a couple of the radios that I use here for those. And then I do have it's a RF Power Incorporated or something, linear amplifier that's like 50 watts in and 150 out. So that was nice, and I always want to use it on here, and I still haven't gotten to that point. So I think this 20 watts I'm using here would probably drive that thing to, 70 watts, 80 watts maybe. So that would be fun if I ever get it all set on the bench here before the nest. But like I said, we just came in from the garage, from the car, and I ran up here and turned the radio on. KC9 UDX and 9CXK. Boy, that was close.
All right. Fine business, Carol. And for some reason, you're talking about the loon reminded me of a goose problem we have at work. There's a goose that has a nest near the entrance of the building, and guys are getting attacked when they go into work in the morning. And now the Plymouth Horizon, I can tell you why I wrote that down, I guess. You mentioned that it was a clunker. And there's two ways you can go with that car. Most people had a really rotten experience, and some people had a really good experience, and there's a very good reason for that. American Motors contracted with Chrysler to build Plymouth Horizons, and what was the Chrysler equivalent of that? The Dodge Omni. They contracted to build those, and the ones that came out of Kenosha were incredibly good. And the ones that came out of Detroit were garbage. So that's the story behind that, and I'm not making that up. You can hopefully still find that information somewhere. That used to be a well-known thing around here. And, well, you didn't want to talk about cars, so maybe I shouldn't have brought that up. But anyway, I was going to make some other comment here, and now I don't recall what it was. But we are at the bottom of the list. Let's see if we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please. All right, hearing none, we'll go back to the top of the list. Frank, W9JCC, it's your turn again from KC9UDX.
Okay, thanks, man. Well, I don't know what happened there. Must have let me thumb off the push to talk here. KC9UDX and the net, W9JCC. And good evening to Jim and Carol that checked in a little later. Let's see, you were talking about the groceries. Sometimes I have trouble getting my minimum order, and I got to have at least $35 to get a free pickup. And this week, my original bill was like almost 100. It was like 97 or so, but I had about $21 in coupons, so I brought it down a little bit. But I had a package of razor blades on there, which I rarely buy at the store, but they did not provide them, and I called them up, and they said, oh yeah, we were going to get those from the Pick and Save East instead. They didn't get to Pick and Save West on time, but they still charged me for them, so I said, well, I canceled the amount. They have a way of canceling out that particular order, and then I'll just buy them next time. So no harm done there. And as far as not having a summer, I don't know what year it was. It wasn't many years ago. In the last few years, it seems like we had a summer that just, it wasn't the heat, it wasn't the, it was just the fact that it was either too hot and sticky or too rainy or, too something. You couldn't enjoy it. And so that kind of reminded me of a lost summer. And Dave, congratulations on finishing the PP there. Glad all that is turning out okay for you. I did something interesting today. I was working on my receiver down here in the shack, and I had, I was on 10 meters listening, and I was hearing a station from Australia. So I whipped the antenna around and turned on my Yaesu. I talked to it for a few minutes, and then I hit the button on the rotor to run the antenna back to the east. And I was watching the estimator on the 75 before it went. I was surprised at how low the noise level was. It was, like S1, S2. Most of the time, the last couple of weeks I've been working on it. And all of a sudden, it got toward the North Pole, and it thing went up to about S7. So I don't know, it must be, I don't know what I was picking up there, if there's northern lights or something going on. But I didn't realize that. I thought the receiver itself was real quiet up there on 10 meters, but I guess it was just where I had the antenna pointed. Let's see, as far as your hunter there, Matt, I've got the Hunter Bandit 2000B, which was a predecessor to the one you have. I think yours takes 3,500, a pair of them. And that's a little bit bigger machine. It's a little taller at least. Mine is the same size as the Collins S-Line series. So it was designed by the guy who used to work at Collins. And it pretty much matches the Collins stuff. But I guess he didn't like the way, I think he tried to make something like that at Collins, and then he decided to leave and do his own thing. American Mortgage, I worked there for a couple of years while I was going to school. And I don't remember lived very close there to AMC from, since I was born, 1939, and until, well, we left town around in the early mid-60s, so, but when I was working there, they were making the Rebel, Intimate Ambassador, and a couple of models there, and they all seem to be pretty decent. Okay, I'll turn it back to you on that. I'll probably check out around the top of the hour. If you don't hear me come back, that'll be what happened. KC9UDX, W9JCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. Fine business. And that's amazing that you worked there at that time. That's pretty good. And those were amazing cars. I always kind of wanted to have an ambassador. Don't think I'll ever be able to afford one, though. The closer I get to being able to afford one, the higher the prices go. But that's very nice. And yeah, I'm not sure what the Hunter Bandit 2000B looks like. I used to know. I know the 2000A is very different, but I don't remember what the 2000B looks like. The 2000C looks just like you're describing. It's hold on, I've got a tape measure here. See if I can use it. This thing is 8 inches tall and about 15 inches wide, and it does look exactly like a Collins. And that's a big advantage for me because I have it sitting next to my KW 2000A, which the KW 2000A is a British radio that was designed to look like a Collins. So they match. They match very well. Other than the fact that the amplifier is discolored from age in a different way that the transceiver is discolored from age. Otherwise, they match like they look like they're made to go together. And I kind of hope we're done by the top of the hour, but I don't know. We'll see. We usually go over, and that's not a problem. I only worked 8 hours today. But these days when I work 8 hours, I still have to wake up at 3:30 in the morning, which is terrible. I hope that changes. But on the other hand, the advantage of starting work so early in the morning is that when I work 12-hour days, I still get home in a reasonable time. Which I'll be doing 12-hour days. I did one Monday. And I'll be doing that tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, unless they cancel my overtime, which there's rumors that may happen this week. The downturn in the economy will probably affect my employer very much, which is not a good thing. They've got a whole bunch of other problems. So anyway, we'll go next to Dave. Excuse me. WB9BWP from KC9UDX.
Okay. Steve didn't make it tonight. Anyway, I remember when I was in school, I didn't snare one of them, but there were a number of people working at AMC during the summers. And they'd always brag about how much money they're making. Especially when you're in college, that made them pretty rich. Other than a couple of guys I knew that went up to the Aleutian Islands to work on the radars. One guy loved it so much he went back for a second round. I forget. I think they were up there for 6 months at a time. And there you always made a ton of money because you didn't have anywhere to spend it. Anyway, And yes, the VTVM that I've got is a heat kit. It's I don't have the model number handy. It's a horizontal one with the mounting brackets. And it's one of the later ones with the beige color scheme. And I don't remember who mentioned about tariffs. It might have been Dale, but I check here see what's for sale every day. Every once in a while, I'll find something interesting. In fact, I've got an antenna tuner, a manual Ameritron, a big one, that turned out was a guy just a couple miles from me selling it. But so I check out the ads and things, and I read, what they've got on some of it. And one guy, I don't remember what it was or where this guy was, and he's describing the piece of equipment, and it costs this much plus shipping, and he said, and tariffs are your responsibility. So already it's making the rounds in the ham jokes. So, and everybody is very copyable tonight. Quite strong, in fact. Band is not noisy here, and the signals are all very good. So it's not all the time that I can say that. And I guess that covers everything I've got to say. So, I'll send it back to that. This is WB9 BWB.
All right, thank you, Dave. And I wanted to comment the last time around you mentioned the MRAC meeting. I think that's this weekend. I hope to work. And if I'm not working, I will probably be working anyway. My dad is drywalling his basement ceiling. And unless he somehow got that done, I'm going to have to go down there at some point and help him out. You jogged my memory. I do remember Warren talking about that meter. The one I have is a vertical one, but it's from the same era. Mine is a V4A, Victor 4 Alpha. Mine is the one that is not really intended to work on a bench. It's intended to go portable. It's about the size of a Simpson 260. But I do remember, now that you mentioned it, Warren talking about that one. And working in the Aleutian Islands. That if you could handle the isolation and probably the strange diet, that would be a good way to make money. I don't know if anybody does that kind of stuff anymore. I used to know of people who went far away places like that during the Cold War. A lot of that stuff in that area, our direct border with Russia, which everybody forgets that we have. I like to remind people of that frequently. We have a border with Mexico, which everybody's familiar with. We have a border with Canada, which everybody's familiar with, and we have a direct border with Russia. I don't know why we have to antagonize Russia, but I guess the thing is, the border is right between Little Diomede Island and Big Diomede Island. Little Diomede is on our side. I think they used to call that Tomorrow Island and Yesterday Island, something like that, or maybe it was morning and evening, one of them. But anyway, you can literally swim from Little Diomede to Big Diomede. And I know that during the Cold War there was a lot of military stuff on both sides of that border. And I seem to remember hearing that a lot of that stuff is gone. And I suppose most of those types of jobs are not around anymore. Anyway, we'll go next to LAB9DW from KC9UDX.
Sorry for that, LAB9DWX. Well, I know we don't want to talk about cars, but it did kind of bring to mind that I had a couple of cars back in the early days. I had a 71 Cutlass which I bought used and a 76 Plymouth Polaris which I bought used. Both of them were rust covered. And I don't recall having any problems with rust after that. So that must be when they started putting the tires and so on and so forth. But yeah, that was quite the experience, especially with Polaris, which was supposedly covered under a warranty recall, and I had all sorts of trouble with the dealer. So yeah, so interesting times back then. And yeah, unfortunately, I cannot hear Jim or Carol. I'm glad you guys can hear me. So there you go. And you know, I think somebody mentioned stereo equipment. Oh, by the way, Jim had asked, I think, what kind of amplifier I have. It is an American AL811, which is several years old. I bought it used 4 or 5 years ago, and so I think the power strings are pretty much shot. And who knows, maybe when I was learning how to clean the thing, I probably injured the speakers a bit. So there you go. So now I'm trying to determine whether or not if I'm going to replace those speakers, if I'm going to go in a different direction with the amplifier. So there you are. And somebody mentioned hi-fi equipment. And I have what I'll call, higher-end consumer-level stuff. I don't have any of the audiophile stuff that's, in the $30,000 range and all that stuff. I mean, it's nice to look at those pictures, but that's about as close as I'll ever get. And, and a couple of nice speakers, which, speakers. And it works well for me. And especially because, like mid last year, something happened to my hearing. I had some sort of a cold, and, I thought it was just a sinus cold or something like that, but I think it was more serious than that. I got over it, within a week or two like you normally do, but I think it left some hearing damage. So now I have moderate hearing damage on the left side and mild on the right side. So, so now I can't enjoy that music quite as much as I used to, but I still play it. So there you go. Now with that, we'll go back to Matt, 89VW here.
All right, thank you, Dale. Fine business. Sorry to hear about your hearing. I wonder if you've had that checked out. It might be something simple. I know that I had it probably 30 years ago now already, but I had it one time where my hearing was getting bad and I didn't really even realize it. And I went in and they cleaned out my ears, and all of a sudden I could hear, and I realized what a difference it was. And well, I hope that clears up. But I've got some hi-fi stuff, not modern audiophile type hi-fi stuff. I've got old 1970s hi-fi stuff, and we do make it a point to listen to records regularly. I play one side of a record every night at dinner. And I just finished going through a pile of records that I don't normally play. I guess I went about last year this time trying to set up one of my turntables to play 78 RPM shellac records, and I was unsuccessful. So maybe if I get an opportunity here this year, I should go back onto that, because I've got hundreds of 78 RPM records that I haven't listened to in 30 years, and that's not good. I've got a lot of really good old records. For a while there, in the early days when I first got on YouTube, I was putting some of those records on YouTube, and I got tired of the copyright hassles. What a bunch of baloney that is. We have to lock it away so nobody can hear it, just because you know, somebody is 3 generations away from the person that had anything to do with it, and they have the copyright on it. But I won't get started on that. That's that's one of those political things I could go on for a long time about. And I've had cars that were problematic, but I don't even recall which ones really had a lot of problems anymore. I had a 96, it was actually my wife's car, 96 Jeep ZJ Grand Cherokee that had transmission problems really bad, and she also had a 95 S10, actually an S15 Jimmy that had every problem you can imagine. I guess I could tell a lot of stories about that one. But otherwise, I tend to buy cars that have at least 300,000 miles on them, so if they have any problems, the problems are worked out by then. And next we'll go to Jim, KS9Q. Jim, Dale mentioned that the amplifier that he has is an Ameritron AL811. KS9Q from KC9UDX.
KC9UDX and the net. This is KS9Q. Oh, very good. I'm very familiar with the AL811. I've rebuilt a couple of them, and I owned one for a while, and it's a good amp. There are definitely some design improvements, especially for the older ones, that can increase the reliability of it. And I found W8JI's site very helpful in that regard. And your Hunter Bandit, your 2000C, was originally designed with 3-400Zs, which is a predecessor to the 3-500Z. They're pin-for-pin compatible, but they are slightly different heights. So a 500Z may or may not fit in a given cabinet. It just depends on how much headroom there is. But they are directly interchangeable. And it's a pretty hardy triode. If you're running properly, it'll last. I looked at the schematic for the Bandit. It looks like it was primarily designed for tube type exciters. There's no tuning network on the input, and if you can use something like that with a solid state radio, that can be a little problematic because that input SWR can swing a little bit. But it's a pretty basic design, and I imagine they probably work pretty good when everything's hitting right. So other than that, I am going to be traveling on toward the latter part of the month. I'm going to be going to D.C. with a friend of mine who is going on a Stars and Stripes honor flight, and I'm serving as guardian. So that will be, we're looking forward to that, and it should be a very interesting experience. Definitely going to take the camera and shoot lots of pictures. So anyway, I am going to make this my final because I got to get upstairs and chat with Sue a little bit. Good hearing everybody on. We'll say 73, and so we're back to net. This is KS9Q.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Fine business, especially on the honor flight. Do have fun on that. That's very cool. And yeah, the tubes in mine are the 3-400, and I think that's what is still in there. Pretty sure. I think when I bought it, it had a new set of 3-400Z in it, if I remember right. Something along those lines. And when I got it, it was disassembled in a way that it should not have been disassembled. I remember that. I have pictures of that somewhere. I asked the guy that I bought it from about that, and he kind of disagreed with me. But it did arrive, and I was able to put it together and make it work. And yeah, when it When I have that thing working, it's a night and day difference. I have busted some pretty significant pileups with that thing. I'll call and call and call, and a half hour later I get fed up and I just flip the switch and there I am. And you don't have to worry about me connecting any solid state radios to that. There is no danger of that in this shack. I have it switchable here. I can operate that real easily off of either my KW2000A or the Drake TR3, and I have used it with both quite a bit. I always meant to write up a procedure on how to use that. I've got a very complicated switching network here to use all this stuff together. I always meant to write up how to use that so that someday I would be able to do it when I forget. And one of these days I should set aside a whole day to just do that, because I can see that happening. If I had to use it right now, I'd probably struggle to figure it out. Anyway, I'll say 7-3 to you, Jim. And we'll go next to Carol, N9CXK from KC9UDX.
KC9UDX and the net, N9CXK. Okay, well, Matt, I hope you're hearing me all right. I know my signal's probably good, but I do have the mic gain way up like we experimented with last time, so it should be nice and loud. And I am using a different microphone. I have the Yaesu MD200 microphone here, and I think I have that adjusted correctly, so hopefully everything sounds fine. But my mic gain is up at 50 now, and ordinarily on sideband it's only on 35. So I guess that helps on AM here. I wasn't really sure. But what I can say is that my SWR is good. That's the best I can do. And I don't think anybody mentioned the Jefferson Hamfest, but I don't think we have spoken here since that Hamfest. So I just wanted to say it was nice to see some of the guys. I had a big fat name badge on, and I sat at my table all day. So I saw some folks, and I really had a good time. I gave away a lot of stuff, oscilloscopes and signal generators and just stuff. I gave it away, and I didn't have to carry it home, and the load was much lighter. So next time I'm going to push even harder to give stuff away at Oak Creek. And really, not much else to talk about myself. Cars, I like my cars. I love the Subarus, but I don't need to talk about them. For me, they're tools, just like a computer is a tool. I use it to get other things done. So what's the latest thing I have here? Oh yeah, I picked up a really nice internet radio. I used to have a couple, and both of those radios used servers that basically went out of business. So I just ditched them. And I haven't had one for a while because I like to listen to all those stations that used to be on shortwave. I can listen to them on the internet. But I haven't had a device that would do it very well, but this internet radio that's what it's designed for, to search out all these stations and keep them in order for you. So I'm pretty excited about using that. I haven't had one for a little while. Oh, and the other project I had was my end-fed antenna. I have an end-fed, it's a half-wave somewhere, but it's an end-fed antenna that's supposed to be good for 80 meters through 6 meters. And really didn't work on 80 meters. And called them and I talked to them at the factory, and they said, yeah, you gotta cut it. Tell us where the SWR points are on the different bands. And I told him, and he said, yeah, you gotta cut that end section shorter. Well, I ended up whacking off a whole bunch, and now it tunes from 3900 to 4000. kilohertz. So that's pretty much where I operate most of the time. It's so short, but it's the whole antenna isn't short. It's 75 feet long, and it has a big fat coil in it. So I was just pruning the section after the coil. So I am using the whole antenna. I guess it just didn't seem right. First I added 10 feet of wire, then I added 25 feet of wire to see what would happen, and it wouldn't work at all. So then I went back and started lopping off pieces, and then came right in where I needed it with a tuner. I mean, thing's not going to work without a tuner, but oh well. That's my secondary 80-meter antenna. So I'm happy that it's working. And like I said, everything is staying together around here. Through all the wind and all that, everything is where it's supposed to be. So I'm happy. And I'm going to say 7.3 also. I haven't been home all evening. I got a couple things to do here. But Matt, thank you so much for running the net. I enjoy this net probably more than any of the other ones I get on. It's a lot of fun. Everybody take care. And like I said, everybody's sounding great tonight. KC9UDX and all the rest of you is N9CXK 73.
All right, thank you, Carol. Fine business. Your gain set at 50 is just perfect, I think. It's working very well. And I don't do internet radio a whole lot. Just recently I started listening to a couple of stations only to listen to music that you can't listen to around here otherwise. Used to be able to do that with shortwave. I don't even know what is missing on shortwave. I haven't turned on a radio to listen in so long. But I don't know that I'd want to listen to a lot of the stuff that I used to listen to on shortwave on the internet. It just wouldn't be the same. And I haven't bought a standalone device. I used to be able to listen to the servers that I use on the TV, but they quit working on there. And that's one of the reasons I bought that other Rock Pro 64, because I theoretically would be able to do that again. But I have that stuff on my phone. And unfortunately I have to use internet radio to listen to local AM stations because there's so much RF noise from whatever around my house. I'll never get around to doing that either. I want to turn everything off and isolate all that stuff, but there's just an obscene amount of noise around here anymore. So anything with an indoor antenna is not going to work. Anyway, we're at the bottom of the list. We are running kind of late here, but I will see if there's any last minute check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please. Well, I was just going to say my radio hasn't acted up too much tonight here, and there it just did. So, anyway, I'm not hearing anybody else. So, we'll do the 7-3 round. Of course, talk as long as you like. And you're first, Frank. It's your turn on the 7-3 round. W9JCC from KC9UDX.
Okay, thanks, Matt. KC9UDX, W9JCC. And 73 is the Carolo and Jim, I think, checked out. As far as rusty cars, I had a 54 Mercury, which I really liked. But after about 100,000 miles, the floorboard actually rusted out. I remember driving out to school in Madison with my army boots on and the well socks to try to keep my feet warm in the wintertime. But it was a pretty neat car. As far as the Hunter Bandit 2000B, if you want to see what it looks like, just go to my QR's website showed in one of the early pictures in there. It's the unit that's at the bottom of the rack, which is a homemade wooden rack for the Heathkit SB series, and that drives the Hunter. And yeah, that Hunter is a bare bones design. I mean, there's some of the parts are a little bit underrated, and but there's nothing extra in there. If you want to turn it on, there's no standby switch. You just turn it on and it comes on. If you turn it off, you're just bypassing the whole thing, and it works out pretty well. So I don't have too much more. I think I'll say 73s. Thanks for running the net there, Matt, and good job as usual. And 73s to all. Everybody have a great rest of the week. Brought to Net Control, KC9UDX, W9JCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. And I was trying to pull that up and I couldn't, but I'll have to look. I used to know what they look like. I used to know quite a bit about the whole series, but I'll have to refresh my memory. And of course, you can see mine on my QRZ page. I think I haven't looked there in a long time. I should do that. But I'll say 7-3 to you, Frank. And we'll look forward to hearing you next month. And next, Dave, it's your turn on the 7-3 round.
Okay, 73 to everybody that still can hear any of this. And if Carol's still listening, and for anybody else. You want a place to try to unload stuff before South Milwaukee, and you're not going to Cedarburg. A few weeks after that, but in May, if you're not going to Dayton, May 17th, which would be the normal MRAC meeting, well, first it starts in the parking lot at HRO, freebie Hamfest. Doesn't cost anything to sell, to be there, whatever, drive up, open your car, and away you go. The weather's bad when you're inside in the garage. And then the meeting kicks in at 10 o'clock, but it's not a meeting, it's an auction. So there's a couple of opportunities to unload stuff there. Talk about that more next month, I guess. And internet radio. I've got a Yamaha receiver running my stuff here in the basement. And that had a built-in internet radio section. Until I can't remember now the name of the outfit that was providing that data. They decided, oh no, if you want to use their stuff, you're going to have to pay a subscription. So it doesn't work on the receiver anymore. And yeah, okay, everybody today, tries to grab their money wherever they can, I guess. What did I see somewhere? Adobe Acrobat Pro, the 2020 version, was like $400. Yes, give us money. 73 to everyone that's out there. This is, and as always, Matt, thanks for running this, for doing this. Something a little different and keeps things interesting radio-wise. 73 to all, this is WB9BWP.
All right, thank you, Dave. We'll say 7-3 to you. And yeah, the worst thing is, not only do they want to charge you for every little thing, now everybody wants a subscription for everything. And I do not do subscriptions. I have a really hard time with that. There's a handful of things I make monthly payments on. I will not let them take money out of my account automatically. And otherwise, I don't do subscriptions. I avoid all of those things. But it's getting harder and harder to do. And next we have Dale, AB9DW. It's your turn on the 7-3 round from KC9UDX.
All right, there, Matt. AB9DW here. Well, 7-3 to everybody. if Jim happens to be listening, I'll definitely look up the WNKI website, see what they have to say about that amplifier, and congrats on that honor flight. Very good. And the 811 that I have, I did a couple things to it. I changed out the power switch and also changed out the incandescent lamps for LED lamps on the meters. That was a little more challenging than the switch. The switch was pretty easy, but those LED lamps were a little bit more challenging. But we got that done, and it looks nice. So there you go. And the stereo equipment I have, a couple of unusual features. One, this is the 1970s stuff that I still have in my rig. And one of the features is the Nakamichi 505 tape player and recorder. And it's unusual because it really has the transport only travels in one direction. But what it does, in order to play the opposite side of the tube, is it actually takes the tape and moves the tape along with the slide that it rests on. It extends out, flips the cartridge 180 degrees, and then slides it back in, and then it fast forwards to the point where you have audio recording. So it's kind of cool. And I don't think there was one recorder from the 1950s, I think, that did something similar, but the way it did it was completely different. So, it's an unusual piece of equipment that we'd like to have, and I think to see it flip when it gets to the end of the cartridge. So there you go. Anyway, thank you everybody, and Matt, again, thanks for running this. It's an unusual net from all the other ones that we do, and very interesting. It's one of the better nets that I'm trying to have. So back to you, Matt. 89GDX, 89GW73.
All right, thank you, Dale. I'll say 7-3 to you. And, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, you're talking about the cassette player that flips the tape. I used to know a guy that had one. I don't know if it was the same one that you have. And I knew somebody else that had one that had a carousel. The cassettes were vertical, and they would get pulled out of the carousel and stand up vertically in a player, and then get back in the carousel. But I don't think that would play both sides. I have two of them actually. One of them, the gears are all stripped out, so I bought another one like it. Mine are solid state, computerized, programmable. They will play both sides without flipping the tape, like more modern ones do. Only this is not that modern. And also, it's entirely programmable. You can tell it which songs on a tape to play from both sides and what order to play them in. It's one of those things that's more of a novelty because it's just not that useful, but you can do it. You can tell it to play the third song on the second side and then go back and play the first song on the first side or something, and it'll play them in the order that you program it. But I haven't used that in ages. I don't use cassettes anymore, except in my pickup I've got a cassette adapter to hook up my phone. And unfortunately, that cassette player in that vehicle is coming apart, so now I can't even get that tape out of there. And so I can't use the radio. Someday I'll get around to dealing with that. But I do have to get going. And I will say this concludes the 2 a.m. net. Feel free to reg chew on this frequency after my transmission. We will meet again on the 13th of May. And I want to, of course, thank you guys all for being here. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have a net. And if it was just me, there's been times like that. There's absolutely nothing going on. So thank you for being here. And I will say, this is KC9UDX. Until next month, 7-3, and good night.